Oh, hi guys. We are, the drill. You know the drill.
Yeah.
How are you, Harry?
Doing excellent.
Good to hear it.
Uh,
Bit past your bedtime tonight, bro, isn't it?
that's okay. Like we say, the show must go on.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm now back in my abode. I got back a couple of days ago. What an absolute nightmare. 6 weeks, complete shutdown. And then, they're saying, oh, you must follow the government protocol and we'll let you out. So we did all that.
I'll let you out.
Oh yeah. I mean, I went through 8 tests. And then, they even said, they called me when I was on the way home in the car and said, oh, when you get there, you must have a test. So I got back Tuesday night, and Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock, I had to go and have a test. And of course, everything's okay. But best that you don't come to school yet for another week or so. Just chill out and hang around and stay home. And I'm like, this is nonsensical.
Yeah.
But
Did you tell them that you were in isolation for 6 weeks? What were you going to contract?
They actually sent me a message, right? Let me just find it, and I'll tell you what my reply was. Right. My boss sent me a message and said, please list your journey throughout the month of August. Like, where did you go? And this is my reply. August the 1st until September the 7th. Room 704 in this particular apartment building. Daily trips included: 1, going to the bathroom; 2, occasionally going to my friend's apartment on the 10th floor, or going to the supermarket on the 1st floor. Trips outside were limited to 8 occasions when we all had to go for a test. Please don't ask me if I enjoyed my trip.
Because if he did a solid no.
You can't get any crazier than this. But anyway, it is what it is. So, right, guys, we've got a couple of presentations for you today. Harry's done one, and I've been working on one for a while. It's not very long, but it's going to kind of set the scene for the we've got quite a few new subscribers now, so welcome to all the new guys. And we do keep reminding you to go back and watch the copy and paste video podcast that we did a couple of months ago, because it all ties in with what we're going to present today. I also want to give out a shout out to Mark. He posted a comment on the last video about something to do with lead cubes that have been found, but when I click on the comment, it's not there. Right, I can see it in the notifications, but it appears to be a long comment. So sorry about that, Mark. I don't know if you want to try and repost it,
or send it to our email.
Yeah, flick it to the email. He emails me regularly anyway, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Another one we should link one of our episodes is the bark one.
Yeah,
because that identifies the realm that we're talking about that's been copied and being deleted, and it also talks about the person who's running the realm and the higher self and the avatar. It identifies who these people are in a way that we can all kind of understand it.
Okay, I'll link that below. But it's just called Bark. Oh, I think it was called Bark. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get into a bit more of this reality breakdown. Now, it was Truth Meter. What's her name, Harry? Jennifer on Truth 69 that brought my attention to this. There's a particular type of architecture. Anybody can just go online and type in Baroque, Baroque, Baroque architecture. And it's interesting that the word Baroque sounds an awful lot like broken. This is a screenshot that I took from from the, I think this is the Divergent channel. It was a while ago. Now this is a statue, guys. A statue, right? Made with a hammer and chisel. Look at the eyelashes. I mean, look at the hair. And we're told this is a statue. Now, many of you have seen um, this kind of quote unquote statue. What kind of technology made or was used to make these things? Or are they actually real people, physically turned to stone? Well,
Yeah.
it clearly was, nobody knows what, how it was done. So again, clearly copied over from the original realm. Okay, everything gets copied over. And many have seen this one as well. This allegedly carved out of a single slab of marble or granite or whatever it was. This beautiful fishing net. I mean, we got no idea. And then I came across this one, a room full of statues. I mean, what? I've got no idea what this is at the end. But we've got nobody's got any idea what this room and many rooms like it, what were they actually used for? I mean, what was their purpose? Why have so many figurine statues? Well, not really figurines, are they? They're figures, huge figures.
It definitely looks like a setup or a cathedral where it's leading up to an altar at the very end.
Well, I don't think that these were built as cathedrals. I think we've proven that and shown that in previous videos, because religion is a creation of, which is part of this copied realm. We talked about this in the last video, where I suggested that the you have the number 7. I know on the other video we had the other eye. This is the left one. You got number 7. You've got this representing the sperm, and a couple of our awesome subscribers suggested that could actually be a sine wave rather than a serpent. And I'm like, whoa, yeah. So a few pictures. These are just screenshots of some of this wonderful architecture, and we're told this was built in the 10th century. We've looked at this one before, but not as close up as this. This is the Milan Cathedral. It's a cathedral now, but it clearly wasn't built as a cathedral. But they're telling us it was built in the 14th century. Well, using what? How? The Basilica of Santa Croce, 17th century. Well, again, you've got this beautiful dynamic window, and you've got this Trajan's column that's built in the year 107. You're right. Gloucester Cathedral in the UK, built in the 14th century. Yeah, of course they were. And then we were talking about the we don't do much on the heliocentric model or any of that, but came across this. I'm not going to read it for obvious reasons, but if you want to pause the video and read it, I mean, again, this is just truth, basically. Now, a big shout out to Kim from the Bard channel. We've been having a few Zoom conversations, and she sent me this. Now, I don't know if you guys, how many of you guys out there have seen this? I've never seen this. This is the first for me. And she said, just have a look at the symbolism. And guys, it really is incredible. I mean, let's just have a look for a minute. You've got a red king, you've got a blue queen, or the red and the blue. And the queen, under the queen, you've got this homunculus, this glass. You remember if you look at our video called We Are 200 Years Old Maximum, we talk about these homunculus, these test tube babies, rather than being premature. And of course, that's sitting right underneath the queen. And you've got these kind of tubes, something that seems to be coming from the queen going into there. You've got the eye. You've got some kind of roller coaster with a dude here and a horse. Again, another horse connection. we talked about the Joker. This is not a Joker. This is clearly a ringmaster, a circus ringmaster. Are we living in a circus? And who's this dude? You've got a boy here holding something like a dinosaur's head. You've got the globe, which is upside down. We've talked a lot, Harry, haven't we, about this realm being
Oh
inverted.
yeah, complete inversion.
Yeah. You've got this what looks to be a conveyor belt with just random objects on it, which in my opinion would be representing just materialism, the nonsensical, the rubbish that we use every day. You know, um, and you've got these two pillars here with the arch, which is slightly different over here, but it's pretty much the same representation with the lights and the light, the false light. Um, Up here, you've got monkeys, a monkey with a crown. I mean, is that representation of the serpent, the hare? You got a
Mhm.
peacock. Well, a peacock apparently is the only creature that displays all seven colors of the rainbow in its feathers. You've got an elephant up here facing one way, and you've got an elephant facing another way. You've got another elephant here with its tusks. What do you think that?
And Nigel, look, the dog is the king is the dog.
Yeah, yeah.
and and the queen looks to be like a sparrow or a robin or some kind of bird.
And what do you think this is here with the wings? They look like flies' wings.
Oh, it looks like a bee. It looks like a bee.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, it is. Look
Hello.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. My screen. I'm on a small laptop, so my screen's
Yeah. Yeah.
not that huge.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that this guy's standing in a hand, and look, he's
Bandaged.
like bandaged.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I've already sent this over to Logan at Decode Your Reality, and I've asked him if he's seen this before, and asked him to maybe have a look and see what he sees, because he's pretty good on this kind of stuff.
And one quick thing, it's telling you it's dangerous
Yeah.
side, but you know the two columns with the lights inside.
Oh, here. Yeah.
The one conveyor belt is going in,
Mhm.
and the other one is coming out.
Well, this one looks like it's coming out. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's going in? What's going in, and something else is coming out.
Can't make out what that is. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to zoom in on this and have another look. But guys, I just wanted to throw it out there for you guys to have a look and see what you think. What do you see in this?
I bet you our subs have seen this and they probably could explain it to us.
They probably could, but as I say, I hadn't seen it. I saw it for the first time yesterday when Kim from the Bard channel flicked it over and said, "Hey, well, what do you think of this?" I'm like, "Whoa." So yeah, I mean, let us know what you think, guys.
Mhm.
Right, Harry, I will now make you the host so you can do it. It's crazy what they've done. Because at one time when we used Zoom, I could just give you permission to record and give you permission to screen share. Now
Yeah.
I can only as the host, I can only give you permission to record, and you have to become the host in order to screen share. So
Yeah.
very, very strange, but anyway, if you want to share your screen, bro, and we'll get into the next part of this.
All right. So again, we know that we've fallen into this realm that Nigel's talking about, and we know that because we're in it, we've fallen asleep. Is it that we're asleep, or we still remember? And so I've titled my section called Babbling or Babbling English Language. Is it the angel's language, or is it a shieling language?
Isn't it interesting that the word Babel has got both the word the L, the EL for the God, and also the word babe. I got you, babe.
Yeah.
Logan did an awesome podcast on that. Guys, I'll put a link below. It's called Decoding Prison Planet. And he actually starts off with I Got You Babe, because it's the song that's playing on the radio when the dude when Bill wakes up, whatever his name is, in Groundhog Day. If you watch the movie Groundhog Day, he wakes up at 6 o'clock every morning, and it's that same song playing every day. I Got You Babe. And I've just noticed it's right there.
I think his in that movie is Phil as well. Phil.
Yeah, that's it. It's Bill Murray that plays the character.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I thought of just came to me. If you and this is connected to the L, which here is EL, but it has the pronunciation of just a single L. And if you think back to the Bible, Harry, to your biblical days, in the beginning was the Word, WORD. And if you insert an L into the word word, you get world.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here. All right, sorry, bro. Please continue.
No, and that makes the same point that I'm going to make in this presentation, that the language that we're using today, and pretty much most of the world that wants to communicate with one another, they're not going to try using a translator. They're going to just use an English word, or they're going to speak in English because that's going to be the common language. Yeah. So I've made this, the Xiling is just an anagram for English. All right. And then the language means it just, to stay there and just become worthless.
We're languishing in our language. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So semantically, I think those two words are very similar. So I kind of looked at, we've talked about homonyms and heteronyms and the way words are manipulated. So I looked at English, and I looked at it how the origin of the word even English comes from the Anglo, or the English.
Hey, I've just thought of something else.
Yeah.
With that Xiling, before decimalization in England, the money was pounds, shillings, and pence. But
yeah.
It was spelled SHILLING. But there's certainly a connection. Certainly
I think so.
Yeah.
Everything is connected. It's just how long did it stick around for, and who remembers it. So when I looked at the word shilling or Xiling, it reminded me of the divine feminine and how ultimately she was subdued and kind of removed, kind of like the queen we talked about in chess. At one point, the queen was removed, and then eventually she was returned because they didn't want to make the queen look like she was more powerful. But we know in reality, the queen is the one that holds the power, because the queen is not a woman. And we've already touched on that, so we're not going to belabor that point. So the divine feminine is subdued into a system that falters and weakens her. Okay, so let's look at the word language. The language is set up to allow one to languish with time, becoming feeble and having no vigor, no strength, no ability.
Yeah.
Once we get to the system of this language, we languish because we can't remember what we had prior, what type of language, how would we communicate in the past? So, and then this will tie us back into the Tower of Babel and Babylon. So how does it happen? Well, we saw in the Tower of Babel that there was a confusion in the language. I tend to believe, and I'm sorry to use that word, my knowing is that probably we didn't use words. We had some kind of mental telepathic communication.
I totally agree with you.
Probably something that was transferred from the higher realm down to the lower. Even in our human state, we still had that ability, and eventually this confusion had to happen. So we're going to start with homophone. What is a homophone? A homophone comes from the Greek word homo or omeo, which means the same, and from phone, which means voice. So we're going to say that these homophones are they sound alike, but they may have different meanings. But in order to further confuse you, they also have, besides homophones, they have homographs, we have homonyms, we have heterographs, and multonyms. And you can read what each one is. Just pause the video and you can see that.
It's interesting that the word confuse or confuse ion, because we all know what a con is, and to fuse something is to bring something together.
Yeah.
You know, to fuse two things together.
Yeah.
So you have your fuse ion.
Yeah.
As your electron connection again.
And that's where we also had Confucius. He confused us.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on. So now we have a couple of common examples of homophones, and probably the one that we all, as little kids, learned, and we just had to memorize it: 2, 2, and 2. What was the difference between them? Again, just another way of confusion. Why is it that we can't just come up with a different word to mean something and not sound just like two other words?
Yeah.
So I made a list of other examples: the there, and they are, the you're and the you are, the bye. The one I find the most ridiculous is probably these two right here: the stationary and the complement.
Yeah.
You know, those two words, I mean, if you're going to have two words that sound exactly the same, why don't you just spell them the same?
Well,
you know,
if you look at the two words adoration, to adore someone, right? Adoration sounds a lot like aberration.
Yeah.
To abhor. And of course, you have a completely different spelling, but they put an H in there, and two R's for aberration. But it's very, very similar to adoration, which is, you know, they're the opposites of each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we know through linguistics, the B's and the D's, they're interchangeable.
Well, you've also, you know, we know that vowels are interchangeable as well. You've also got destruct and distract.
Yeah.
Are just one vowel different, but to distract or destruct. Very, very cunning and very, very clever the way that our language has actually been created for us. Yeah.
And I'm beginning to think, you know, listening to you know, people who do gematria and especially now with Logan, because he has so many other layers too. I think the reason why these words are spelled differently, even though they sound exactly the same, not so much for the meaning, but just for the gematria value. They may be wanting to code something.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, but the break is not a good example, because it really is the same. It's just they're an anagram of each other. So if you put either of those spellings into gematria, you're going to get exactly the same result.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're going to get a different result with complement and stationary and stationary.
Yep. Yeah, because, you know, like I said, these have the same exact letters in them. It's just their anagrams.
Yeah.
I want to touch a little bit on whole and whole. I think that if you were to make a reference to the holy Bible, doesn't that kind of tell you that there's holes in the Bible?
Yeah.
So I think they made a mistake. They should have used this type of hole, because it's supposedly the entirety, right? So anyway, the no and the no, the stare and the stare, and this one is the one that kind of, you know, you and I are both irritated when people say should have, but instead they write out should of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, so when people use this, when they use this in their writing, you know they're already confounded.
Yeah.
They're confused already.
Yeah, there's a little lesson that many of us do over here in China. It's just called coulda, woulda, shoulda. I coulda, I shoulda, and I woulda. WUDDA, CUDDA, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Yeah,
Uh,
because they all get confused with the of and the have. Yeah.
yeah. And it just shows you how dumbed down everyone is.
Yeah.
So then I just looked at one other example of the word raise, and this source here said that there's so many different ways of or meaning for the sound of raise, and then you can just take your time and look through all the different types of raise that you can find. And I made sure to put this one in here. Raise is the plural of real, and that's the name of a currency in Portugal until 1911. So we know that what that's coding, and then of course the res is also the do re mi fa sol la, and then we know that's important because that's just a demonstration of the repeat cycle.
Yeah.
The reincarnation.
Yeah.
All right. So then I looked up a few words and I thought, okay, well, what are the origin of some of these words? And again, I want to make sure that everyone that has been watching our channel knows we do not follow the narrative when it comes to this timeline. We have stated many times, we know that 1,000 years have been added to our calendar, and this whole 1200 and 1300 stuff probably happened maybe about 500 years ago at most.
If any of it's true, if any of this is true, like where the word dunce came from, and isn't it funny that at the time of one John Donne's SCOTUS. Now, what is SCOTUS?
Yeah, today it's the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So the guy John Donne supposedly was a Franciscan philosopher, but eventually all his ideas and understanding was debunked supposedly by the Protestants. And we know what the Protestants were good for, just creating revolutions. So all his ideas were considered to be what a dunce would say. That's where we get the connotation of a dummy. Yep. You can again pause the video and read about where quiz came from and this convoluted story of how we got the word. The word berserk, interesting. They have a lot of references to the coat of a bear, and it's talking about Norse warriors. That's pretty interesting. The nightmare I also wanted to include because we talk about horses a lot, and we talk about the word mare could be horse. It can also be mar as like a water body of water, and we're talking about a nightmare, something that terrifies you. They're talking about a Germanic folktale where some demon sits on top of your chest and suffocates you or causes you to have bad dreams. This is where we're getting these nightmares. The one I totally don't believe, and I just thought ridiculous, was the Earl of Sandwich.
Yeah.
His name was John Montague. And from him, we got this bread and meat, which was already being eaten, but they were going to put the bread between the meat between the bread so as to not oil his playing cards. Because he didn't want to ruin the deck. Okay, I believe that one.
Yeah.
We got malaria, the bad air. They say that we get sick from mosquitoes. I think that's just as much bullshit as we get sick from rats. None of that is true. The Black Death did not happen from rats, but again, that's another podcast. Quarantine, exactly where we've been experiencing this stuff. You just recently and everyone for the last 18 months. We all know that cuarenta means 40. Originally, it was a 30-day quarantine.
There has to be a connection here, Harry, to the biblical 40 days. Jesus in the wilderness for 40 days.
Yeah, well, we know that 40 days traditionally is the time that a baby that's newborn requires to build an immune system So it's kept away from the public until 42 days or 7 weeks. So I'm sorry, 6 weeks, so that that immunity can be built and not become ill.
Right. Okay.
That's what I've always known. But again, 30 days extended to 40 days because of the Venetian sailors who invented commerce and didn't want to spread disease from boat to boat.
Right.
Or harbor to harbor. Again, I don't know how true it could be, but this is what they're telling us. Ketchup. I included this just for you, Nigel.
Ketchup. Yeah.
Who would have thought that our America is one of America's most favorite condiments was going to have a origin in China as a sauce of pickled fish and spice. Didn't know that at all, but I just wanted to include it just for you.
Oh, thanks, bro.
So here, I'm going to finish it off here. So the world's oldest languages, I put 7 down there. Again, the timelines, I don't agree with the timelines. I think that if anything, I don't even think this is the right order, but if it's going to be maybe 500 years, not longer, not 3,300 here and not 1,600 down here.
No.
But I've drawn a blue line here, and I've called it the river of language. And I asked you earlier, if you wanted, if you're going to go camping and you're going to drink from a river, you want to find a place where you see that that river is being fed from maybe a higher ground.
Yeah.
Maybe a mountain spring that's going to empty into a river. We see here, this is the top of the mountain here. They say Egyptian is the oldest language. And then from there, we drop down Sumerian, Akkadian, Elamite, Hittite, Mycenaean Greek, and then archaic Chinese. Now, Nigel, if you're going to drink from this river that we see that's coming up here and coming all the way down here, you would want to come to the cleanest source. Where would that be?
Well, that would be at number 1, really, wouldn't it? That'd be at the top. But, it's interesting that you've just used the word source, and you were just talking about ketchup. And ketchup is a source. Different spelling.
Yeah. So what the point I'm trying to make with this is, when we read a lot of the text nowadays, we refer to the Greek, we refer to the Hebrew. This is about the same time period right over here. But we know that the Hebrew borrowed a lot from here, and here. So we're already contaminated. By the time we're here at 6, and even down here between the 2, 3, and 4, the river has already been shit in, been bathed in, been thrown up in. Animals have died in it, and we're going to be drinking from it. So our language is being built on these languages right here. Of course, English is going to be down here to the far, far right off the screen. But we have to be able to go to a higher source where the origin of words are in order to get the purest meaning. And I'm going to tell you right now, we are definitely not getting it. I'm going to stop sharing right now so that we can see each other. We've been dumbed down. We have sources that are not proven. We have words that we just we're relying on other people to tell us what they meant. We don't remember it. And again, the problem is not that we're asleep so much, is that we just don't remember. We've come here again and we just join the crowd running around the track because they tell us to, and we don't know what else to do.
Let me tell you something that amused me yesterday. I was talking with Kim from the Bard, and she was telling me that many years ago she used to live in the US for a few years, and she went into a store in Texas, into a supermarket, right? She wanted to buy chicken because she wanted to go home and she wanted to cook some chicken. So she goes into this store, and they got plenty of chicken, but it's all already cooked. So she went up to the counter and says, look, where's your raw chicken? I want to buy some raw chicken. Can you imagine what the reply was? Why would you want to eat raw chicken? Now, when we say we've been dumbed down, when you say we've been dumbed down, why would you want to eat raw chicken? That was the answer that she got. I'm pissing myself laughing when she told me. I'm like, whoa, I'm gonna have to share that with people. But this is where we've got to. This is where humanity has been taken to. It's not where we've got to, it's where we've been taken to. We have been, what's the most famous iconic creature in China and Japan? It's the dragon, right? Break it down, drag on. You know, when I lived in the UK, it was common. You know, when you smoke a cigarette, you take a drag. Yeah, just give me a drag. And this whole look, what's going on now for the last how many months? It's been dragging on. The dragon, the drag on. Yeah. So again, it's all hidden. It's all right under our noses, and people just can't see it. It's actually scary that people can't see it.
Yeah, I think like we've said it in the past, if it's hidden in plain sight, it's harder to find.
Yeah.
If it's gotten to the point where you've seen it over and over and over again, you've been desensitized, it can be right there and you're just going to ignore it now.
I also think that a lot of researchers, and we've talked about this before, going down various rabbit holes looking for answers. Once you consider the copy and paste idea, which is so blatant in my opinion, you know, it's a bit like you, Harry. You're searching your house for your car keys. You can't find your car keys. Where are my car keys? Well, they're actually in my pocket, and I'm down the pub. Yeah. So you can look through your house as much as you want. You're never going to find your car keys because they're in your wife's handbag or whatever, and she's having coffee with her mate or whatever. Yeah. You're never going to find them. And I'm firmly of the opinion now that we're never going to find the answers that we seek to a lot of things in this realm. If you look at the remember the first two the first three statue pictures that I showed with the eyelashes and the veil, were they 3D printed? Well, probably not. Are they real people that could have been turned to stone? Possibly. We've got no idea. All we can ever do is speculate, and we're never ever going to find the answer because the answer is not in this realm. The car keys are not in your house, bro. They're in my pocket or your wife's handbag down the coffee shop or in the pub. You ain't going to find them.
Yep. It's like someone walking in the snow saying, oh, it's okay. I'm just going to follow my footprints back to where I started. And the footprints stop because
it's snowing. Yeah.
Where those footprints started is not here.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, it's been snowing while you've been walking, so all your footprints are now covered up anyway. So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to all the new subs. All links will be below. Just scroll down, click on show more, and they're all there for you. I'll put a link to Kim's channel as well because she's linked us in the video she's done today. She's connecting it with the 7. Which we did a whole podcast on the escaping the reincarnation trap. So we'll, as I say, we'll leave it there for now. And like, share, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you. Well, we're actually late this week. It's Friday, my Friday. We normally do this on my Wednesday, so we're actually 2 days late. So we'll probably be back in another 3 days or so. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Love you loads.
All right. Take care.
Catch you on the next one.